Srivasadi Gaur. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Canto 4, Chapter 20, Text 21. Sadirajo Rachita Jali Harim.
Saadirajo Rachitanjali
Vilokitum Nashakadashrulochanaha.
Vilokitum Nashakat Ashrulochana
Na kinchanovacha sabaspa viklavo.
Nakinchano Vacha Sapaspa Viklavo
Hridopaguyamam adad avasthitaha.
Ridopaguyamum Adat Avastita.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The original king, Mahārāja Pṛthu, his eyes full of tears and his voice faltering and choked up, could neither see the Lord very distinctly nor speak to address the Lord in any way. He simply embraced the Lord within his heart and remained standing in that way, with folded hands. Just as Krishna is addressed in the Brahma Samhita as Adi Purush, the original personality, so King Pṛthu, being an empowered incarnation of the Lord, is referred to in this verse as Adi Raja, the original or ideal king. He was a great devotee and at the same time a great hero who conquered over all undesirable elements in his kingdom. He was so powerful that he was equal in fighting to Indra, the king of heaven. He gave protection to his citizens, keeping them engaged in pious activities and devotion to the Lord. He did not collect a single cent of taxes from the citizens without being able to give them protection from all calamities. The greatest calamity in life is to become godless. And therefore sinful. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying the greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore sinful. We may think great calamity is, like COVID was a great calamity or there's a huge earthquake or something. Prabhupada points out greatest calamity is to become godless. If the state head or king allows the citizens to become sinful by indulging in illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, then the king is responsible and he has to suffer the resultant sequence of reactions for the sinful lives of the citizens because he levies taxes on them unnecessarily. These are the principles for a ruling power. And because Mahārāja Pṛthu observed all the principles for a ruling chief, he's referred to here as Adi Raja. So because he's setting a great example of a king. So that's why he's called Adi Raja. Even a responsible king like Mahārāja Pṛthu can become a pure devotee of the first order. We can distinctly see from King Pṛthu's behavior how he became ecstatic, both externally and internally, in pure devotional service. So it doesn't mean we have to give up our homes or our professions or our position in society to become pure devotees. In fact, so many of the Mahājans were kings. And here Pṛthu Maharaj also is a king. Dhruv Maharaj also a king ruling the kingdom. And they're all pure devotees of the Lord. Not everyone has to become like 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan sleeping under a different tree every night. So just today, we have seen in the newspapers of Bombay that the government is going to repeal its prohibition laws. Ever since Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, Bombay has been kept dry and has not allowed its citizens to drink. But unfortunately, the citizens are so clever that they have increased illicit distillation of liquor And although not being sold publicly in shops, liquor is being sold in public laboratories and similar abnormal places. Unable to check such illicit smuggling, the government has decided to manufacture the liquor at cheaper prices so that people can have their supply of intoxication directly from the government instead of purchasing it in public laboratories. The government failed to change the hearts of the citizens from indulging in sinful life. So instead of losing the taxes they collect to inflate the treasury, they have decided to manufacture liquor to supply to the citizens who hanker after it. I remember before when we were small, liquor was not so easily sold in India, in Bombay, at least. Now that we see everywhere, liquor is very easily available. Before, when we were small, it was only very few shops had it. Very, very few shops. This kind of government cannot check the resultant actions of sinful life, namely war, pestilence, famine, earthquakes, and similar other disturbances. Nature's law is that as soon as there are discrepancies in regard to the law of God, which are described in Bhagavad Gita as dharmasya glani, or disobedience to the laws of nature or God, at once there will be heavy punishment in the form of sudden outbreaks of war. So all these are reactions, war, pandemics, all these are reactions to our sinful activities. But then we may say, oh, but I didn't do anything. But then it's the collective karma. We are at this time, at this place, on this earth, where a lot of sinful activities are going on. So we have recently experienced a war between India and Pakistan. Within 14 days, there have been immense losses of men and money, and there have been disturbances to the entire world. These are the reactions of sinful life. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to make people pure and perfect. If we become even partially pure, as described in the Bhagavatam, Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, by development of Krishna consciousness, then lust and greed, the material diseases of the citizens will be reduced. This can be made possible simply by broadcasting the pure message of Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna consciousness. So we can see how Prabhupada is so concerned for everyone's welfare, saying there's war going on, there is liquor being sold illicitly. So the greatest calamity is that the citizens have become godless. And if only people take up to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, everyone can become peaceful and happy. Because by hearing Bhagavatam regularly, by Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu, the lust and greed, material diseases in our heart, gradually get removed. Big commercial and industrial firms have contributed many thousands of rupees to a defense fund that burns the money in the form of gunpowder. But unfortunately, if they are asked to contribute liberally to advance the Krishna consciousness movement, they are reluctant. Under the circumstances, the world will periodically suffer from such upsurges and outbreaks of war, which are the consequences of not being Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is bringing out the urge of becoming Krishna conscious and giving Krishna consciousness to everyone. So at least that we can live peacefully. We may not become pure devotees, but at least we can live peacefully till the time we are here, because the lust and greed can be reduced from our hearts. Atham rajas ya shukala vilokayan
Atha brahmascha ashrukala vilokayan
atra tadriko charam aha purusham
atript dragocharam aha purusham
padas prashantam shitim amsa unnate
padas prashantam shritim ams unnate
Vinyastahastāgram uranga vidvishaha.
Vinyastahasta agram urang vidvishaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Mahārāja Pṛthu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord. But it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. The significant point in this verse is that the Lord was standing above the ground, almost touching it. The residents of the upper planetary systems, beginning from Brahmalok, the planet where Lord Brahma lives, down to Svarglok, the heavenly planet of Indra, are so advanced in spiritual life that when they come to visit this or similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. So, the demigods, when they would come from the higher planets, when they come to the earth, their feet don't touch the earth. They're just above the ground, kind of floating in the air. So, the Lord Viṣṇu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, when he first appeared before Pṛthu Mahārāja, he was not touching the ground of this earth. But when he was fully satisfied with the behavior and character of Mahārāja Pṛthu, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan from Vaikuntha. Out of affection for Pṛthu Mahārāja, he touched the earth, but he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on earthly ground. These are all symptoms of his great affection for Pṛthu Mahārāja. Perceiving his fortunate position, Pṛthu Mahārāja could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still in a faltering voice, he began to offer prayers. So Lord Viṣṇu, this is the Kshirodakshayi Viṣṇu who has appeared, because the Kshirodakshayi Viṣṇu always comes whenever there is, anything, whenever there is a need within the universe, is Kshirodakshayi Viṣṇu. So he's come now. So initially when he came, he was not touching the ground, but he's very happy with Pṛthu Mahārāja, so he's touching the ground. But he's putting his hand on Garud's shoulder, just so that he doesn't fall down, as if to prevent. He's not going to fall, but as if to prevent himself from falling down. Anyway, the point to be noted is that the Lord is so pleased with Pṛthu Mahārāja. That's the main point to understand. Pṛthu Vacha.
One question, sorry, just one question. So when there is a problem, then they go to Garbhodakshayi Viṣṇu. Brahmaji.
Kshirodakshayi.
Okay. When there is any problem in the universe and when Brahmaji has to complain, then he also goes to Kshirodakshayi Viṣṇu only.
That's right.
And then he appears.
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes they can see
So even
Lord Viṣṇu. Sometimes they
Mm.
can't even see him. They can just hear him speaking.
Yes,
And
yes.
sometimes only the higher demigods can see him.
Okay. Because that is Kshirodakshayi Viṣṇu only, right? Not Garbho.
Yes. No.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. And Garbhodakshayi is the one from whose navel Brahmaji appears on the lotus flower. Right?
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah. Pṛthu
Thank
Vacha.
you.
Thank you.
Pṛthu Vacha.
Varan vibodvad varadeshvarad buddha.
Varan vipotvad varadeshwarat buddha.
Katham ranite gunavikriyatmanam.
Katham
Katham
vrinite
vrinite
guna
kriya
vikriyat
atmanam.
Yenarakanam abhishanti dehinam
yenarakanam
Apisanti dehinam.
tani shakaivalyapate vrinena cha.
tan isha kaivalyapate vrinena cha.
My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? Such benedictions are available automatically. Even the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. There are different kinds of benedictions according to a person's demerits. For karmis, the best benediction is promotion to the higher planetary systems, where the duration of life is very long and the standard of living and happiness is very high. So yeah, the different people get attracted to different kind of blessings. No, there are some people, some of us, we want to go to heavenly planets, have very, very long life, so that we can enjoy there, have more opulence, have more comforts. So there are others, namely Jnanis and Yogis, who want the benediction of merging into the existence of the Lord. This is called Kaivalya. Or some of us have the desire that I want to, after I get liberated, then I want to merge into the Brahman effulgence. The Lord is therefore addressed as Kaivalyapati, the Master or Lord of the benediction known as Kaivalya. So Kaivalya, the oneness, the merging. But devotees receive a different type of benediction from the Lord. Devotees are anxious neither for the heavenly planets nor for merging into the existence of the Lord. According to devotees, Kaivalya or merging into the existence of the Lord is considered as good as hell. The word Narak means hell. Similarly, everyone who exists in this material world is called Naraka, because this material existence itself is known as a hellish condition of life. We enjoy here so much. We don't want to leave it. And the higher beings, Pṛthu Mahārāja, like really the great intelligent personalities are saying this is hell, hellish condition of life. And we love to be here. We enjoy here so much. Don't want to get out. Pṛthu Mahārāja, however, expressed that he was interested neither in the benediction desired by the karmis, nor that desired by the Jnanis and Yogis. But one interesting point to understand is only Krishna can fulfill the desire even of merging into the Brahmajyoti. Only Krishna can get that. Why? Because it's his Brahmajyoti after all, nobody else's. It's the light which is coming from his form, from his body. So even the other demigods cannot give that benediction. Krishna can. Okay. Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Prabhu, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, described that Kaivalya is no better than a hellish condition of life. And as for the delights of the heavenly planets, they are factually below the wisps of phantasmagoria. They are not wanted by devotees. Devotees do not even care for the positions held by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Nor does a devotee desire to become equal with Lord Viṣṇu. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Pṛthu Mahārāja made his position very clear. So the pure devotee, he does not want heavenly pleasures. He does not want to remain in the Brahmajyoti, become one with the effulgence of the Lord. What does he want? He doesn't want to become Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. What does the pure devotee want?
Serve the lotus feet of Sri Krishna.
I'm sorry?
Serve the lotus feet of Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's what in Shikshastakal, Lord Chaitanya says, na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram. But I just want that life after life I can engage in service. Na kamyena tadapi aham kvachin.
न कामयेना
येनाथ तदपि aham kvachit
Na yatra yusma charanambujasavaha.
न यत्र
yushma
युष्मच्चरणाम्बुजा सवः
Bhatamantar hridayan mukhachyuto.
महत्तमान्तर्हृदयान्मुखच्युतो
Vidhat swakarnayutam esha varaha.
विदत्स्वकर्णायुतं मे
Yutam me varaha.
My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1,000,000 years, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees. In the previous verse, Maharaj Pṛthu addressed the Lord as Kaivalyapati, the master of the liberation, of merging into his existence. This does not mean that he was anxious for Kaivalya liberation. That is made clear in this verse. My dear Lord, I do not want such a benediction. Because Maharaj Pṛthu is saying that even if I go sit in the Brahmajyoti, I will not be able to hear your glories. I don't want to be in the Brahmajyoti. I want to have millions of years where I can hear your glories. Maharaj Pṛthu wanted to have 1,000,000 years to hear the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. He specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord should emanate from the mouths of pure devotees who speak from the cores of their hearts. So he does not want to hear the glories from professional reciters. He wants to hear from the pure devotees. Why does he want to hear from pure devotees? Let's read. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 113, Shukamukhad Amrita Drava Samyutam. The nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam became more relishable because it emanated from the mouth of Srila Sukadev Goswami. Because Bhagavatam we are hearing from Sukadev Goswami, so it's become more nectarian. Bhagavatam was always nectarian, but because Sukadev Goswami, parrot, when he bites into those fruits, then those are really sweet fruits. So similarly, Sukadev Goswami, Sukha means parrot. So Sukadev Goswami is speaking the Bhagavatam, and because Sukadev Goswami is speaking Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam has become more nectarian. One might think that these glories of the Lord can be heard from anywhere, from the mouths of either devotees or non-devotees. But here it is specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord must emanate from the mouths of pure devotees. Sri Sanatana Goswami has strictly prohibited hearing from the mouth of a non-devotee. There are many professional reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam who speak the narrations very ornamentally, but a pure devotee does not like to hear from them because such glorification of the Lord is simply a vibration of material sound. But when heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, glorification of the Lord is immediately effected. So when hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee, that's the real Bhagavatam. That is getting into the essence of Bhagavatam. Professional reciters, they don't, because the devotion is not there, because the love is not there. So then that kind of narration cannot have any effect on our heart. It's not going to touch our heart. The word Satam Prasangan Mama Virya Samvida, Bhagavatam 3:25-25, mean that the glorification of the Lord is potent when uttered from the mouth of a pure devotee. The Lord has innumerable devotees all over the universe, and they have been glorifying the Lord since time immemorial and for an unlimited time. but still they cannot completely finish enumerating the glories of the Lord. When we love someone, we want to keep on talking about them. Oh, he did this and she did this. We'll go on. And the way we'll speak is because we love them. Another person might like to hear them because we are speaking with so much enthusiasm. Not we are speaking because of, I'm going to get money out of it or because I'm forced to speak or something. No, but because we want to glorify. Similarly, the pure devotee, he has so much love for Krishna. He wants to glorify the Lord. He cannot stop talking about the Lord. And that's what is purifying to us in our hearts. So Pṛthu Maharaj therefore wanted innumerable ears, as Rupa Goswami also desired, to have millions of ears and millions of tongues to chant and hear the glorification of the Lord. In other words, if our ears are always engaged in hearing the glorification of the Lord, there will be no scope for hearing the Mayavad philosophy, which is doomed to spiritual progress. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if anyone hears from a Mayavadi philosopher preaching about the activities of the Lord, even if it is a description from the Vedic literature, he is ultimately doomed. By hearing such Mayavad philosophy, one cannot come to the destination of spiritual perfection of life. So it's in our best interest that we hear from the pure devotees, because they know how to glorify the Lord, because there's no envy in their heart. There's only love. So because there's no envy for Krishna, they are actually glorifying Krishna. And so what then the sound vibration we are hearing is transcendental sound vibration, not material. Are there any questions or comments? No, then let's stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.